Your refrigerator is a handy appliance that can keep your food fresh and delicious. But you would be surprised to know that there are some things you should never put inside the appliance. If you like eating the freshest fruits and vegetables, then refrain from storing them in your fridge. The cold temperature can make foods decay quicker than usual. You might find yourself eating rotten fruits or vegetables instead of the ones you enjoyed from the market that morning. Also, keep other products such as eggs, kefir and ketchup out of the refrigerator. To keep these items fresh for longer, place them in airtight containers in cupboards or pantries and use them within a week's time. Here are 21 foods that you should never refrigerate. Normal temperature does not affect the freshness of bread. Bread tends to keep its flavor and moistness whether it's refrigerated or not. In fact, it's the cooler temperature within the fridge that makes the bread stale and appear older than it really is. We recommend you never keep eggs in the refrigerator, and we want to tell you why. Eggs kept at room temperature will last longer, it's true, but the taste and texture might begin to change for the worse quickly. The best thing for long-term storage is a cellar or pantry where the temperature is cool but not cold. Chilled yogurt tastes better. That's what most will agree upon. However, if you keep the yogurt in the fridge or freezer for too long, the beneficial bacteria will perish. If you want a healthy diet, you'll want to add more live cultures and probiotics to your meals. Try eating off of a wooden cutting board with a fresh lemon in hand. Raw avocados take longer to ripen when you keep them in the fridge. However, once they ripen, it's okay for you to keep them in the fridge. Raw mangoes also need more time to ripen in the fridge. It's best that you keep them out covered with hay or paper and allow them to ripen naturally. The humidity in the fridge is too much for berries. They'll gather mold and they won't necessarily remain fresh in the refrigerator. The cold fridge temperatures is likely to speed up the rotting process in whole melons, as they contain a high level of water. Be sure to take your melons out of the fridge and back into a higher temperature location when you are ready to eat them. Also, it is important to keep cut, or fresh, fruit in an airtight container in the fridge to prevent spoiling and passing of germs. Cold temperatures tends to damage the tomato's membrane. They'll taste high-pitched and watered down when you put them in your refrigerator. But, if you want them chilled in a salad, you can refrigerate them for just a few minutes before slicing the tomatoes themselves on site at the venue of your dinner party. Cold temperatures can make the skin of fruits and vegetables fragile and sensitive, and thus make them less good suited for shipping or export. It's surprising how the simple act of refrigerating a cucumber too soon can affect their texture and when it comes to eating them. The next time you make cucumber salad, try keeping the cucumbers at room temperature, so they maintain their crunchiness a little while longer. They're just like cucumbers. Carrots last longer at room temperature. Fresh bananas are best stored at room temperature to maximize their ripening process. However, if you refrigerate them, they will become overripe and spotty faster as refrigeration affects the fruit cell walls. The same goes for avocado. Storing it at room temperature allows it to ripen perfectly. Potatoes are not suitable for fridges because they turn sweet when they're kept in cold temperatures. Also, room temperature is a safer bet because potatoes can discolor and harden too much before cooking if you store them in a fridge or a cupboard. The best thing to do is keep them unwashed at room temperature so that your potatoes don't turn too hard before being cooked, and also to ensure their longevity. Many people use only the white part of the onion, that turns green if it is exposed to sunlight. Green onions also contain sugar, 5% approximately, so they will influence the taste of your dishes. They are also necessary in physical activity as they excrete a lot of carbon dioxide, oxygen and water during respiration. Be careful when you store them because onions have potatoes to keep at a warm temperature and away from light for some time. Another thing about the two types of onions is that green onions make an onion get started, whereas onions overgrow once it begins to get older. Garlic in the fridge is likely to sprout before you know it, and molds may grow within the inner layers of each bulb. Making sure you store it somewhere dry and warm, like on your countertop or kitchen windowsill, unless you have a vampire friend who can turn garlic into a drinkable content. There's no doubt that cheese is one of life's greatest pleasures, which is why we're glad to tell you that there are some steps on how to best store it in your fridge. It doesn't like moisture, so be sure it's kept somewhere dry and warm, but not too hot, of course. Coffee is an essential part of many people's morning routine. However, it is affected by various elements that can alter its quality. One way to ensure the quality of your coffee for many years to come is by storing it in a secure area, one that is properly outfitted with high-quality lighting and humidity control. Coffee should be kept in areas where there are no unnecessary shadows or sources of moisture or dampness to avoid spoiling the flavor over time. Just because your hot sauce comes in an airtight bottle which has essentially kept it from expiring, there is no need to refrigerate your bottle of hot sauce. If you are the type of person who likes spice and flavor but aren't easily sensitive to spicy food, feel free to take your bottle out of the fridge for a few minutes. If you think you have a high tolerance for spiciness, try skipping the refrigerator altogether when storing your favorite hot sauce. Pickles are best kept at room temperature, just like hot sauce. If they're stored in the refrigerator, the flavor will be ruined. Honey is a sugar-based adhesive substance produced by bees and some related insect species. It is common in human foods, but also has many uses unrelated to food, such as in cosmetics. Like most viscous liquids, honey tends to form crystals that show up on the surface of the liquid. These crystals are caused by the separation of tiny particles of dried honey or other solid materials introduced during collection or processing. Crystallization of honey will not make it go bad, however, because honey preserves extremely well almost indefinitely. Crystallized honey can be softened and returned to its liquid state simply by heating it. See uncrystallize. Eggplants are extremely sensitive to temperature and handle it poorly. They need to be kept at room temperature or else their crunchy texture will degrade quickly and will make them become wrinkly.